A History of Lucifer and His Name Plant, the Morning Glory, by Matthew N. Wyman. This particular subject is not pleasant to me and probably won't be that pleasant to many of you. I remember my boss once saying, "Oh, I hate it when he talks about the dark side." But unfortunately, that's what we're up against. We're up against Lucifer and his minion, the Luciferians. They are the heads of the snake. So our job is to cut that head off. Lucifer is not Satan. Satanists and Luciferians are not the same, and in the same fashion, Satan and Lucifer are not the same spirit. Lucifer's name plant is the hallucinogenic morning glory, called the serpent plant by the Aztecs, while Satan's name plant is the tree of knowledge of good and evil, Amanita muscaria. Prehistory. Eve was tempted in the garden by the serpent. I believe that talking snake was none other than the hallucinogenic morning glory, or Lucifer's name, which Adam and Eve, or hunter and gatherer if you prefer, would have encountered in the garden. You see, when a person partakes of these morning glory seeds, a spirit, or the spirit of Lucifer, enters into their temple or body and communes with them. Evidence. Well, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the Amanita muscaria, is shown in the rock art of northern Siberia. So that's Satan's name. We're not talking about Satan today. We're going with Lucifer and discussing the serpent who basically broke into the mind of Eve and convinced her to eat of that red and white mushroom, the Santa Claus mushroom. The Venus of Willendorf, here on the left, is painted red in this artistic rendition with the head cap of Amanita muscaria. This was believed to be a Neanderthal votive, or idol. On the right you see a 12th century French fresco showing Amanita muscaria with Eve standing next to it. The artist's rendition is my own and shows the serpent looking pretty innocent in the tree, which is a mushroom, known by the frog, sitting next to it. That's how you can gauge the size. The artist wanted us to be able to understand that the tree was really the fruit itself, the mushroom. Well, the serpent itself, if you look at the bottom, is a viper. Lucifer is a viper. Among the Mesoamericans. Alright, so let's start looking at Lucifer in the Mesoamerican cultures, because a spirit so great as Lucifer would be known to all of humanity and show up in all of the cultures. It would be known to all of humanity collectively. He was known as the feathered serpent, or Quetzalcoatl, among the Aztecs. The Mesoamerican pantheon included this deity as the feathered serpent, or Quetzalcoatl, or Kukulkan among the Mayans. Here is a statue, which is of the filleted one. He's wearing the skin of another person over his body. And on his right arm, you see the tendril or morning glory symbol here. This is what the morning glories look like when they grow. And this is the morning glory flower here, symbolized as a kind of pentagram or pentagon. We'll go into that in detail. Another name for the morning glory was Hunab Ku. The morning glory tendril is depicted there. The symbol for Hunab Ku is the butterfly, the worm that turns into the flying spirit, or flying butterfly, insect. So here you see in the center of Hunab Ku his symbol, and that is the morning glory tendril. And this is the butterfly with this little antennae. Now, what is Lucifer up to? What's his main objective? This symbolizes Lucifer's eye, or the all-seeing eye is what he would like to believe, but of course he's not the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye is God, because only God sees it all. Here you see again the morning glory tendril in the center, and the tree of life depicted beneath it. his objective is to capture the word or the logos or the tree of life, the psilocybin mushrooms. So we can't let that happen. Which probably wouldn't happen because when you eat mushrooms, you tend to grow a conscience. And this is a Hunab Ku, really as he is, the snake eating his tail, or Lucifer. And the reason for him eating his tail we'll get into as we go through the history of Lucifer. First, let's deal with the crunchable or edible aspect of the morning glory. It's the seed pod. So this serpent, its head is crushed and a potion is made from it. So the seeds are crushed up and put into water and then drunk. And yes, I have tried it. It's really quite effective. But it also paralyzes your empathy, much like Amanita muscaria. This is the seed pods. You can see the seeds in the seed pod here. Notice particularly how it has a little collar around its neck. That's the symbol that shows up in the art. When people are depicting the serpent, or the feathered serpent, they often depict it with the feathered collar. This is from the temple of the feathered serpent at Teotihuacan in Mexico. And these seed pod crushing stones, or mortar and pestle, were found in the temple of the feathered serpent. Notice they're made from green jade. Green because of the plant. And again, they have the collar or clasping aspect of the seed pod. Symbolism of Lucifer. The conch shell. Here you see a conch shell. We all have seen people blowing conch shells in romantic fashions, but among the Mesoamericans, the conch shell symbolized the morning glory, or Lucifer's name plant. And why is that? Because when you do a cross-section, it reveals the spiral, or the morning glory tendril. Now here is Quetzalcoatl, and his symbols are the snake in the hand. This is Lucifer among the Mesoamericans. That's what I'm telling you. And this is a drink potion where word symbols are coming up out of it. And he's holding a snake representing the snake plant potion. Here's the conch shell in his chest, denoting the spiral in the center and the symbol of the conch shell. We'll look at that more. Here's the iron cross, another symbol for Lucifer, used among the Nazis. And the morning glory is coming out of the third eye, and a hummingbird is visiting the morning glory. Two symbols for the morning glory among the insects and the animals were the hummingbird and the butterfly. Honey, no. Here again he's holding a cup, and the snake symbol is coming up out of the cup. You have the conch symbol on his chest. Alright, this is the morning glory depicted among the temple. I think it was the temple of the moon where they depicted this, but it was at Teotihuacan, and a closer depiction of it is here, where you see two twin snake plants, or morning glories, coming up from behind this goddess symbol, or almost a Horus-like symbol. And this is Tiltiltzin and Oliquia, or the two species of hallucinogenic morning glories. Notice the reason it's called the feathered serpent is because the morning glory tendrils have feather-like hairs all along them. It's alright, sweetie. It's not too scary. This is the Mocha culture from Peru. And you see the hummingbird visiting the morning glory flower and the tendrils of the morning glory coming out of it. Now we go to Egypt. In Egypt, the morning glory was deified as Horus's name, and you see the morning glory tendril coming from the eye here. This being the tendril from Xochitl's sculpture or statue, and this being the actual morning glory tendril here, associated with the eye because it dilates the pupils, and the eye is the doorway to the soul. So we see the Horus eyes up at the top, and we see Horus himself with the sun symbol, with the serpent who ate the sun, and that represents power. And from him comes all these flowers going to this woman who's receiving the knowledge from Lucifer, the light of Lucifer. Here we see a hummingbird man sitting above a bowl, which represents the hummingbird or the morning glory as a potion taken as a drink to reach states of the paranormal. In the ancient East, we see a temple, a Buddhist temple, with the morning glory symbol depicted. Notice how the eyes look somewhat evil. That's no coincidence. There's the morning glory symbol, the tendril, hidden in plain sight. Again, another Buddhist statue with the conch shell depicted where the third eye should be. This is a Jainist statue, a religion, which has the morning glory of the East called Hawaiian baby wood rose, or Agravia nervosa, I believe it is pronounced in the Ayurvedic. This symbol is basically what happened was they started out with soma, or the psilocybin mushrooms, and then they went to Amanita muscaria, the tree of knowledge, after the fall, and then humanity went to this vine, which is documented in the Vedas, which says a vine has crept in and your seers now stumble and murmur to themselves, but they've lost the way. Among the Greeks, and the Romans, you've got Asclepius, the bearded serpent, and that basically is the devil. So here you see the devil with the morning glory vine above and the goatee, and from the side you see the ears are extended because he hears way beyond the human capacity. I mean, the spirit of Lucifer is probably listening right now, although I chose God a long time ago and I keep a pretty clean house, temple, if you know what I mean. This is Hephaestus, the Greek god of the forge. In his eye is the morning glory symbol, and on his head is the symbol of the feathered serpent, or the flying serpent, or Lucifer. The morning glories were used by the metalsmiths and the forge workers to come up with crafts like swords and spears. Tubal-Cain was said to be the great forger or smith of the Bible, and that may be who Hephaestus is representing. The goat among this is a Greek piece of pottery, and you see the morning glory here with the seed pods and the morning glory leaf, and then you see the goat, stylized of course, and the goat is appreciated by societies because it would eat the morning glories, and humanity discovered the hallucinogenic powers of the morning glories because of the behaviors of the goats after eating the seeds. Among the occult societies, he was known as the goat of Mendes. You notice how the goat symbol here is got two children around him. He's seducing our children through the school systems, through music, through television. And on his head is the torch of, quote, reason. That has the same clasp symbols that you see with the morning glory seeds. And to kind of help you grasp that, besides the pentagram set in the third eye,
You've got the caducus sign, or the sign for medicine, coming up from his groin area. Here again you see the torch of reason, which is to say that by eating these seeds, they came up with reason enough to try to devour the tail of the snake, or the poorer portion of humanity. The Morning Glory is basically a round flower, or a circular flower, with a 5-pointed star in it. And here you have the goat of Mendes again, with the torch of knowledge, or torch of reason, and the symbol for Lucifer. This is one of his symbols among the occult. This is the Eastern Star. Notice the torch of reason again of Lucifer, his reasoning, the chalice, other symbols. The Eastern Star is basically the Freemasons for women. The serpent eating its tail, we saw that in the Mesoamerican culture. This is basically, as I said, the heads of society devouring the weaker populations. So that head has to be cut off. And this is the symbols for Lucifer again. This is the flying serpent representing the spirit of Lucifer, a spirit of the air, and then the crawling serpent representing his name plant, the Morning Glory. And they are unified by the consumption of themselves. And that, folks, is all there is to say right now about Lucifer. But if you know enough about it, you won't get fooled again.